I've never liked flying. There's something about being locked in a metal tube 30,000 feet above the earth that's never sat right with me. It's not just the claustrophobia, though that's part of it. It's the feeling of being watched, judged, vulnerable. I've taken enough flights in my life to functionally ignore the fear. Noise-canceling headphones, a hoodie pulled tight, and some ambient music, and I can usually zone out until touchdown. But that night, none of that worked. That flight was different. Flight 379, Denver to Boston, a red eye, the kind of flight you take when you're either too cheap or too desperate to book something better. I was both. I'd booked late, got stuck in 19A, window seat, no legroom, no recline, trapped for nearly 5 hours with a stranger at my elbow and the plane wall pressed against my shoulder. We took off without issue, the usual bumps and rattles during ascent. The overhead lights dimmed, the flight attendants rolled by with snacks and drinks. I declined. I just wanted to sleep. But I couldn't, because of him. At first, I didn't notice him. I wasn't even looking toward first class. Who does, really? That's their world. Curtains closed, real food, silence. But sometime after takeoff, I caught a glimpse. Just a flash of a face, pale, still, expressionless. C2C. The man sat straight up, not relaxed like a tired businessman, not slouched like a tourist. His spine was rigid, his hands on his knees, his head tilted slightly down like he was listening, not watching the in-flight entertainment, not on his phone, not sleeping, just sitting. At first, I thought he might be sick, or anxious, or maybe on something. But then I started noticing the way his head would move, not turn, tilt, slowly, jerkily, as if he were hearing something far away and trying to hone in on it, like an animal sensing vibrations through the floor. I told myself I was overthinking it, that I was tired, delirious even. But then I saw the flight attendant react. He was a tall guy, late 20s, maybe early 30s, shaggy dark hair, kind eyes, pleasant voice. I remembered him because he made a joke when I boarded, something about how I looked like I'd packed for the apocalypse. I appreciated it. Most don't bother. He was walking up the aisle, probably headed toward the forward galley, and when he passed 2C, he stopped, only for a second. But his whole body stiffened like he'd walked into a freezer. His eyes flicked down toward the passenger, his mouth opened slightly, and then, just as quickly, he kept walking. His face was pale when he passed me. His smile was gone. Now I was watching. I kept peeking between the seats, straining my neck to see past the curtain. I watched him, the man in 2C, sit motionless for nearly an hour. And then, finally, he stood up. That's when I noticed the hands. They were too long. Not dramatically so, but enough that I knew something wasn't right. His fingers extended past where they should have ended, like he had extra joints. They bent in ways that made me uncomfortable just looking at them. He walked down the aisle, slow and deliberate, toward the bathroom. As he passed the curtain, he paused. Not for long, just enough to turn his head, slightly too far, as if checking who might be watching. I slumped in my seat, pulled my hoodie up, and closed my eyes. I didn't want him to notice me. He came back a few minutes later. But something was different. I only caught a brief look, just enough to realize his posture had changed. His back hunched ever so slightly. There was a bulge beneath his coat, near the shoulder blades, something subtle, like he was wearing a backpack under his clothes. And his face, his eyes were darker, reflective, no whites. And when he sat back down, I caught a glimpse of his mouth. It didn't fully close. Inside were teeth, not normal teeth, rows of them, small, sharp, jagged like a shark's. I knew then, I wasn't imagining it. Something was very wrong, but I didn't say anything. Who would believe me? Hey, I think one of the passengers up front is a monster. Isn't exactly something you can whisper to a flight attendant without ending up in cuffs. I pulled my hood down farther, leaned against the wall, and tried to feign sleep. I must have drifted off because when I woke up again, the world was silent, too silent. No babies crying, no snoring, no coughing, just the hum of the engines. I sat up slowly. Everyone around me was perfectly still, eyes closed, heads tilted, no movement. It was like someone had hit a pause button on the cabin. I stood up. I don't even remember making the decision. I just needed to move, needed to confirm I wasn't the only one awake, that this wasn't a dream. I walked up the aisle, slowly, quietly. When I reached the curtain to first class, I paused. No sound. I pushed through. The bathroom door near the galley was open just a crack. Inside, it looked normal, mostly, but then I noticed it, small red smears on the floor, on the door, a strip of blue cloth, torn and stuck in the hinge, the attendant's uniform. I felt something shift in the air behind me, a scrape, metal on metal. I turned, and he was there. Not a man, not anymore. His back was hunched, spine pushed up under his coat like a blade ready to split the skin. His arms were longer, stretched unnaturally, ending in jagged claws. His mouth was split open, wide and unnatural, filled with teeth like broken glass. His eyes, completely black, soaking in the light. Feathers twitched along his shoulders, wings partially visible beneath torn fabric. He watched me, then he spoke. "You weren't supposed to see." Darkness. When I woke up, I was lying in a field, alone, miles from the wreckage. They told me I was the only survivor. They said it was impossible, but one investigator pulled me aside. He showed me a photo, the inside of the cabin door. It had deep gouges, claw marks, from the inside. He asked if I knew what could have done that. I told him no, but he didn't believe me. Maybe he'd seen it before. Maybe he's still looking. And maybe the man in seat 2C wasn't alone. Maybe he never was. The next time a plane goes down without explanation, ask yourself, who was sitting near the front, and did they ever blink?